Specific video on a specific subject because someone decided to post some non-specific statements. When claiming that you are in the know and you have superior knowledge to me or a rock found in a sewer culvert, please don't put up misquotes. As of November 12, 2012, it was announced state and local officials had been working on a project called Project Longevity quietly for over a year. So it was started November of 2011 or more. The project developer was a person who's named David M. Kennedy, and he's a criminologist. The project was rather simple. Anybody who had been found doing any form of what we'll call gateway drug versions of being involved in gangs would be put through a Scared Straight program where they would basically try to traumatize them into being good kids. In under 1 minute, I just explained the gist of it because that really is all there is to it. Combing through it does not bring up Obama, FEMA camps, drills, Sandy Hook, any of this shit. The only thing that connects it is the city of Newtown and the name Obama and Eric Holder are listed in an article on a website. Let's see, what was the website name? ProjectLongevity.org. If someone told me the name was Project Longevity instead of Operation Longevity or some other bullshit name, I would have found it rapidly. Gee, I wonder if it's intentional to make sure that person can't double check what someone's saying. Justice.gov/OPA/PR for project Longevity launched Reduced Gang and Gun Violence Connecticut Cities. That's literally it. It was a Scared Straight program to basically get kids in a room that had been convicted of something minor that usually is used as a way to indoctrinate them into a gang. I'm going to discuss that in a minute. And put them through the Scared Straight principle of literally trying to traumatize someone into doing what you tell them to do. And if any of you are curious, it never works. I've actually been involved in trying to evaluate the effectiveness of various Scared State type programs in the United States. I actually did. I actually got to evaluate it doesn't do anything. It just makes hardened criminals. All you're doing is you can get maybe 10% of them to be dissuaded. The reason a person becomes part of a gang, there's not one reason. There's hundreds of them. And unless you know the specific reason for that individual human being you're dealing with, yelling at them like they're a conscript in some Marine Corps fantasy film doesn't fucking do any good. I had an experience where I helped a person stop being part of gangs. He was moved from the city of Portland that I'm sitting in, where he got into trouble for picking a fight with actual fucking neo-Nazis. That was what they arrested him for, is that he got in a fight with some neo-Nazi. He was a sharp. Skinheads against racism. Anyway, he was shipped off to his relative living in a cow town, the one I was in. And we became friends. And how I met him is he shoved me off of a wall onto a potentially pointed object. Now, I don't know if you understand this, but parkour wasn't just invented recently, and when we were kids, we used to just call it running around. Now they call it free running. And I dodged hitting something sharp and pointed it out to him and sat on the same wall at the high school. He shoved me off again, saying, "I bet you can't dodge it again." After a while, he realized I didn't dodge it. I landed on it. I just didn't show any pain. The next week, while he was getting high, I explained to him how orbital dynamics work and Newtonian physics. So now, somewhere in Portland, he's working as a contractor, making a lot of money. He's happy. And he's still a punk rocker. And the only other time he's gotten into trouble was about 5 years ago when he literally punched a neo-Nazi in the face again. But this time they didn't know about his previous record once punching a Nazi. This project called Project Longevity is a stupidly named project. And government officials need to stop calling things Operation or Project anything, because all it does is trigger conspiracy theorists. And anybody famous on anything above a state level should be excluded from any new launch of any project. Why? Because it's done for political reasons and they never have a hand in it. The project was started by a person named David M. Kennedy. I don't know anything about him. All I know is he's a criminologist, and it was his baby. And it started in the year 2011. Not associated with Sandy Hook shooting. That's it. UNH, University of New Hampshire, or I don't know, criminal justice researchers, specifically this guy, assisted in the development of Project Longevity, a newly launched U.S. Department of Justice initiative designed to curb gang violence, specifically in Connecticut's major cities. Now, this thing actually didn't make much headlines. It wasn't really all that valuable to anybody. It was a project. And I have no idea what happened with it, but the page is still up, and it's still considered a going project in Connecticut. And it started in 2011 and has nothing to do with Sandy Hook. That's the end of it. You don't have to watch the rest of the video. Now I'm going to get to the assertion someone made. Operation Longevity was Obama's name for the FEMA drill. Counterpoint. No, it wasn't, because Obama wasn't involved in it. He signed off on it after the fact, had nothing to do with the project, number one. Number two, the drill, as you're referring to it, was literally people sitting in a room at one place. And I already did a video about it. So your response was to say, Eric Holder set it up. These are people who were ne'er-do-wells after the project had been started by someone that you didn't know about until you watched this video. Why do Sandy Hook conspiracists never look up the facts? Time and date stamps are on the archives below, as well as archive.org's of them. I'd like to point out something very important I'm going to bring up, but the Americans with Disabilities Act being violated by every fucking federal office and organization in every state and county is really getting infuriating, because you know what it does? It makes it where I can't archive anything. But anyway, let's move on. Is it just a coincidence somebody was there at one point? Yeah, actually, it's not relevant because this was started a year beforehand, and you didn't know that until you watched this video because, of course, you're ignorant. And proudly so. It had been the incident at face value. Why did Obama name it Operation Longevity? Because he didn't. Why do you put that in quotes and then don't look it up yourself? That's not the name of it. It's Project Longevity, and it's a dumb name. And it was a local activity that was supported by and encouraged by the Department of Justice because it was part of their tough on crime bill kind of thing. These lame admonishments do not dissuade reason from discerning epic BS here. I agree with you. Your lame posting where you can't even get the quote right, but put it in quotes, all caps, fact. And then ask that I don't look it up and find out that you couldn't get one fucking part of this right? I looked it up exactly how you typed it. It doesn't show up anywhere. Even conspiracy theorists aren't bringing this up. And when I bring up Obama and Operation Longevity, they make the same assertions, but they don't find out that the person who started the project was originally David M. Kennedy, a criminologist, and that it had been started in 2011, not 2012, because those facts would make it to where we could narrow it down and find out where the story is. And I'm sure we could look up David M. Kennedy and find out he was working on it from many days or years before. Projects like this take literally years for somebody to actually complete. But it may have gotten its name, Project Longevity, more recently, but it was named that in 2011. So your coincidence requires a year of planning to be a coincidence. Now you'll just change the story. So now we go on to the next assertion you're making. Encyclopedia Britannica. Headings. Rest assured that it is the cable media official narrative. In other words, it's the official lie and cover story. Okay, stopping right here. You have to admit, I'm going to go through and kill off all your comments. You have to admit that you didn't read anything on this. You have to admit you got the name of the project completely wrong. It's called Project Longevity, not Operation Longevity. You have to admit that Obama had nothing to do with it, nor did Eric Holder, really. They were ne'er-do-wells at the end of the project. And it has nothing to do with FEMA L366 drill that you're calling it, because it's not even partially related to it. And you have to actually read the whole thing. And you have to post a video saying it, or I'm not letting you post anymore. I'm actually full on gonna fucking ban you from the channel. It's a person who runs around calling themselves something, and it doesn't matter what they are. No history to them. This is one of those people who whispers little demonic possession statements into your ear and tries to get you to do something for them. A chicken shit. Someone who may worship the ground that Adam Lanza walked on as sacred, somehow. There are people who want to dig up Manson and marry him. They're fucked up too. So, The X number of $1 billion fund for propaganda is found in research overturning the Smith-Mundt Act. Obama did with this HR legalization of propaganda. That's still over many people's head. No, it's not over anybody's head. We all know that them allowing domestic propaganda, even though it's only a way you could get away with it, is still wrong. The fact that it was originally illegal to do that was good. It's not the Smith-Mundt Act. It's the amendment in it. So, if anybody wants to listen to me review this, someone made an assertion that Obama named the FEMA L366 drill something called Operation Longevity, when Operation Longevity was started by someone completely unrelated a year before, and has nothing to do with FEMA L366, which I already proved in the video that they posted the comment under, because they need to not lose one little bit of faked evidence. Well, how do you explain this? Well, first of all, you got the name wrong. Second, it has nothing to do with these ne'er-do-wells that came on after the fact to pose for pictures next to the project being completed, just like every other time. No, Donald Trump did not start something you like 4 years ago that became a law recently or a rule recently. Okay, that's not how it works either. And people like you that ignore reality and just keep spouting this shit, I don't have to respond to you. But thanks for bringing this up so that everybody will find my video on the subject instead of a bunch of 5-year-old conspiracy theory videos. So people will find my video and find out they were lied to, again, by conspiracy theorists. Truthers always lie. Thanks for watching. Have a good day. Good luck with that. And thank you for assisting me in preventing another idiot from forming. Because none of you can reproduce to produce children that are crazy and stupid like this. You have to reproduce like a virus or a fungus.